dan već svima. Za početak, pitanje, ima nekih problema sa razumijevanjem engleskog? Odlično, inače bi ovo bilo vrlo neugodno nastavak situacije. I'll switch to English just because we are recording this and we will make it available on our YouTube channel later on. Once more, hi and welcome everyone. My name is Philip. I'm a QA lead here at Infinum. For those of you who might not know, Infinum is basically a design development agency. We primarily develop mobile apps, web applications, but basically we do everything. And as you can see, we take internship quite seriously. We like to get them when they're young. Thank you all for coming here. I think most of you know that a couple of weeks ago we had the first major testing conference here in Zagreb. It was C-Test, and basically I think that kind of spurred again interest in these kind of meetups and talks, and I think it's awesome that we are actually moving on with this. We have 3 or 4 amazing speakers today. At least I think they'll be amazing. That's what you can judge. Most of the talks are related to AI and automation. We will not judge anyone who comes a bit late. That's okay. But without further ado, I'd like to take a moment and ask our dear colleague from our Podgorica office to take over the reins and tell you something about how awesome he is in his test automation engineer role. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Philip, and hello everyone. So my name is Igor Peković, I'm test automation engineer here at Infinum, and today I'm gonna talk a bit about how we use the AI for efficient test automation. So we'll start with a short introduction. I will say a few words about our way of work, and then we will delve into the actual implementation of AI tool into our framework. I'm gonna share some insights about what was good with that and what challenges we had with the implementation, and in the end I will share some conclusions that we made based on our experience. So let's start. So as you are probably aware, AI has been implemented everywhere nowadays, and it's implemented also in software testing as well. So we at Infinum explored AI tools that are out there and researched them to see if they would fit our work. And we also saw what can be done using these AI tools. So here you can see some of the tools that we used. What's common for all of them is that they offer some AI-powered functionalities, such as creating test cases, creating documentation, creating automated tests, self-healing, and stuff like that. But they also have some downsides as well. So for some of them, source code is not available to you as a user, then they cost a lot, and they have some maintenance challenges. So we kind of took everything into account, and having in mind all that we discovered, we decided to implement some of our solutions, some custom-made solution, and incorporate it into our framework. So let's say a few words about our way of work. Here are some testing types that we do at Infinum, but tonight I will mostly focus on automated testing, web automated testing to be specific. Page object model. does anyone knows what it is? Yeah, so I guess people who work in test automation are familiar with this test design pattern. In short, it's like a design pattern where you represent web pages and elements and actions performed on those elements. You group them into page classes, and tests are stored separately. Our test automation framework is based on page object model. So we use PyTest framework with Python and Selenium, and since we are following these page object model principles, we store locators and properties in our pages to identify elements that we want to interact to, and we also have methods that we use to make some actions on those elements, and tests are separate. Okay, so this is some really basic example of page and the test from our framework. So you can see that we have like a login page with few locators and properties and one method. And on the right side, you can see that there is some really basic test that uses the method from this page. Okay. Now let's go to a bit more interesting stuff and the implementation of AI into our framework. So we discovered AI tools, we explored them, and based on our needs and our findings of these tools, we thought, well, what can AI help us with our processes and in our test automation framework? So the first thing that we want to do when creating automated tests is to get these locators and properties which identify elements. And once we have that, we can create some methods. And when we define pages, then we are actually creating automated tests and the logic of the test. But also we can, of course, create test cases. You can, of course, ask ChatGPT to create some test case scenarios for your feature or your page that you want to automate. So that's what we had in mind when we started to thinking about implementation. Okay, so let's go one by one and start with the locators and properties. But before that, I will just jump into this really simple example of login page, just to elaborate a bit more about what locators and properties are and what they represent. So this is like really a simple example where we have just like two input fields and assigning button. And in order to identify these input fields or this button, we need some way to uniquely locate them. And in this example, we can just use ID for email and password input fields, and we can use like type submit for the signing button. If you remember the code snippet that I showed you previously from our framework, that's represented like this. So we have locators, and then we have corresponding properties for these locators. Okay, but like I said, the login page is really basic example, and we don't need help from AI to automate this page or to get locators from it. So here's a bit more complex scenario where we have some page with section, and you can see that there are like pairs of label and value. So when writing automated test, we would want to like check the values on this page in this section. And yeah, in order to do that, we need to locate these elements. And since like this page is generated dynamically, we cannot use always IDs or some other attributes, and we tend to use attributes such as data test ID, which is data test ID or some other similar attributes that we tend to use in all projects where we have test automation in place. Okay, so what's the idea? The idea is to get the DOM of this section that we saw and send it to GPT. Then we will provide preferred element attribute for locating elements. And also we would need to specify format of the locators and properties that we want to get back from the GPT. So, and in the end we will get the response that we want. That's the idea. Okay, so let's see how that goes and what we have implemented. So I don't know if you can see well, it's too small, but we have like this high-level method for getting locators. In the beginning, we are defining like a login page and the page where this section lives. And since we are using Selenium, we use its capabilities to open up a browser and navigate to this page. And once we're there, we are calling the method that would get element locators. So you can see that we need to specify two parameters, two attributes. So first one is the element that wraps up this section that contains all the elements that we want to get locators from. And the other one is the element attribute that we want to use for locating the elements. Okay, so you know, I'm not gonna go too much into details behind this to explain technicalities too much. Of course, we need to have like API key for GPT and I know some other stuff that we need to define. But let's just quickly take a look on the prompt that we created. So what we need to send to GPT is in the prompt is to define these two things that I already said, like wrapping element and preferred element attribute. And we need to send down to the GPT. And most of these lines actually are describing our base page, because we want, when we get response, we want it to be in the format that fits our test automation framework. So, okay, let's run this method and see what it does. So, like I said, Selenium opens up the browser, goes to this specific page, and here we have the same section that we had previously, and now it sends like the prompt, and we get the response. So you can see that we got locators, and they are grouped at first. Then we have properties for each of these locators. Yeah, I mean, we can see that the locator names are according to our requirements, according to the base page. So GPT did a good job with following these instructions. And on the right side, you can see the actual locator for each of them. And I will just check that everything is correct. So here I have this page that we got locators from, and yeah, if I copy paste the locator, we can see that it successfully finds the element with the value that we want to check in automated test, which is what we wanted, and it's great. Also, this is an example where the AI had to use like a combination of two elements in order to get to the value. Because, for example, if I would delete the first part, you can see that the other part is like shared between all elements because they're generated anonymically. And AI did a good job here because it identified this element that contains both label and value, and then brought back only the values, and we didn't get locators, which is exactly what we need in our test. Okay, so this is like a good example of what we wanted, and the first step. So yeah, I think that like everything that we wanted is here. Okay, so let's just go back here to this section. So now we got locators and this first step that like we could have like trouble manually finding every possible element that you want. And now next step, we want to defining the page is to create some methods that we want to use on this screen. Okay, so can someone tell me like what would be some test case that you would write in order to test this page? And I can drink a bit of water.
You can try to see if all of the fields were populated, right? First like last one.
Yes, yeah, precisely. Well, I mean, on this particular screen, we would, I would check what the values that are displayed are correct, right? Yeah. So let's try to do that to see will the AI be able to do that for us. Okay. I will just switch to the branch. Okay, so now I just switched to another branch where I have a bit different prompt that alongside with everything that we already had, it asks for writing a method for the DOM that we set. Okay, so let's run that and see how it goes. So we go to the same page, to the same section, and now we are asking methods additional. Okay, so we got the response, and we still have locators, we have properties. They are defined in the same way, I think, so I think that everything's correct there. And together with properties, we have method for checking values. So you can see that we have parameters for this method for each of the values that we have there. And we can see that AI has followed the instructions where we have like this check alias for Python check module, and we are checking against the text displayed in the element. And this part with stripping is actually not defined. So this is something that AI did on its own, which is kind of a good thing because it trims empty spaces if there are any. So this is also a good thing. We got like type hints and everything. So yeah, this is like what we wanted in this example as well. Now let's do one more thing. So I will just delete this response that we got here. So in this form, like you said, you need to populate it somewhere. So let's go to the edit page and populate this form. So I will just open the edit form, and I need to specify element locator for the form. And let's see what will AI do this time. So we go to the same page, but we are now editing it, and here you can see that we have some input fields for all these values that were displayed previously, and we're asking from GPT to get locators and methods for this. So, okay, I'll just check to see if locators are correct. So I'll just edit same form. And, yeah, when we copy paste the locator, it successfully finds the input element that we need. So locators are correct. Okay, properties are there. And then we have method for checking values, like we did before, but now we have it for the input fields. So in this case, we can see that AI kind of did a bit, no, the job is not the same for all the elements. So it got text on some attributes, on some elements, but it got get attribute for some of them. So this is like, yeah, the correct would be get attribute, because the input fields, if you want to access to the value of the input field, you want get attribute value. So this is something that is kind of not working that well in this case. And after that, we got a method for populating fields. So with the same prompt, with everything, AI has recognized that we have input fields now, and that we can create a method that would populate this this form. So yeah, we have the same, I mean, a similar method with same parameters and accessing these properties and sending values to them. So this actually looks okay. Okay. So with this, we did like we covered the process of getting locators, which is maybe something that we need the most when we have like fields where we don't want to go manually through all of these elements and get properties, and we created methods. Okay, I'll go back to the presentation. Okay, so what can be the challenges from this approach? So for properties and methods, well, we saw this example with like one section, but we can have large forms, and we can have like entire pages. So in that sense, things can get like a bit more complex, and AI can maybe send some things that we don't want to. So let's try to do that as well. So I will just switch branch. Okay. So here I have a different page where I just where we access like a page that is a bigger page with a lot more elements. And then you can see that we have some, I don't know, labels, some buttons, tables, a lot of different sections with different fields and elements. And yeah, a coworker of mine told me that this is the biggest form that he saw in his entire life. Yeah, it's quite big. So let's see what will AI bring back from this one. So here we sent the same prompt that we had previously. And yeah, as you can see, this is taking a bit longer because you know, when you send the bigger DOM with more elements and everything, things will be slower, and the response will be slower.
You have to add some elevator movies.
That was your job.
True. Next one.
Okay, so we got something, and this time you can see that locators are not grouped firstly, and the prompt is the same, but okay, this is like not a big deal, we have locators and properties together, but let's see if, I don't know, if they work. So let's take some, and I will just go to this page. And okay, it finds. But it seems that there aren't that much locators because we definitely have more elements on this page than it is shown here. So I don't know, maybe I can find some element that was missed, but I would say that there definitely is some element that was not returned as a locator. Yeah, let's try this. So this is some maintenance field, and okay, this was actually returned. But as you can see here on the locator, we strictly specify that we don't want to bring locators that use classes or things that might change. We only want to use custom attributes, but AI has used classes in this case, and that's actually not what we want. Okay, so I'll go back to the presentation and yeah, continue with other slides. So let's say we covered locators, properties, and methods. Now the next step will be writing automated tests. But as you saw, when we send like request that asks for locators for the entire page, if it's a bigger page or it has a combination of everything, it won't return what we want, and we will probably need to rework our solution, to rework the response in order to have what we want and what fits our framework. So that's why it didn't make sense to go further and create automated tests on top of that, and then rework both automated tests and locators and everything. Next thing that we might create is test cases, like I said before, but test cases would be generated from user stories and tasks, and that means that acceptance criteria would have to be standardized. So we would need to have standardized way of writing user stories for all of our projects, and we are an agency, we have like different projects with different setups and everything, and that definitely wouldn't work for all cases. So what's the conclusion? We used this approach and this custom tool that we built on live projects, and it helped us with generating locators or with like smaller prompts where we don't want him to get everything, but like maybe locators, properties, and methods on some smaller examples. But when we try to get the entire page, then things weren't expected, and we will need to rework our solutions and to edit it in order to incorporate it into our framework. So, like my advice is, you need to check everything before you need to check responses that you get from your AI tools, regardless if it's some custom-made AI tool like we did, or even if you're using some third-party AI tool. On these examples that are not like too simple, they also tend to return results that you cannot trust. Okay, that was all from my side. Thank you much.
Thank you, Igor. This was great, and I'm actually quite glad that for once demoing in production didn't actually break. It actually worked.
That work is I trained.
We have a couple minutes for questions, so are there any excellent young gentlemen over there?
Is there a way to increase confidence in the tests that the ChatGPT returns?
Well, yeah, but I mean, from my experience, you don't want to have like two big prompts, because the more thing you specify that you want to get, it messes up more. Because in the simplest examples and where we only define locators and properties in this case, or if we have a prompt that doesn't have like I don't know 50 or 100 lines, it works quite well, and you really need to be specific. So there definitely is a way to improve your wording, for example. That's what I learned from working with this. That sometimes I will get some bad response, but if I think a bit more and write better, more concise instructions in short, it will bring back like better results. So that's one of the things. I don't know. The other thing is probably defining those properties that you are sending to the GPT API, because I don't know, you have like temperature and other stuff there. I played a bit with that, but yeah, I think that definitely some of these things can like improve the response.
Anyone else? Who will go first?
Ladies first.
Do you have paid version or free is not?
Paid version of GPT, yeah. Yeah, I mean, because if you want to send API request, you need to have.
Okay.
Okay, young gentleman over there.
First, thank you for your presentation. And the question, I have many questions actually, but I don't have time. So, but one of the questions would be like time-wise. So I feel like you lose a lot of time trying to prompt the GPT to get the proper answer, and like my issues in test automation are not actual selectors. Like I know the context, I work in Adobe, so I know the structure, I know the context, I can pinpoint to everything very quickly. I have issues like how to get components in different states during the tests. So with that, I cannot get help just prompting. But I'm actually interested in like time-wise, like how much time do you actually put into getting the proper thing and building the prompts and building the Python script to show you this, instead of just kind of looking at the page and
I get the
getting.
question. Yeah, definitely. If it would be only about like one project or one page or I don't know, one test, that would be like definitely it would be less time consuming to do it in the old way, like to say. But on this project, exactly where I showed you this example, we had really big forms with a lot of different fields, and we were working everything from the beginning. So we wanted to have like it was time consuming to get all the properties, because if we have all these sections and we know that if we ping section by section, we will get correct response for locators, and locators are like combination of two attributes. It helped us, and we really did have a value in that. And the idea behind this is not just we can, if we would have like our custom-made solution or for our project or in-house project that we're working on, that we will probably not do this. But since we are an agency and we want to have, we invested some time, but now we can use this, and any member of the test automation team can use this easily to get the locators that he needs when starting the project, some new project. So I don't know if that answers your question, but
I'm just kind of, because when you showed the bigger form, then you had issues. So then you need to go back, check, okay, go back to We need to check all the actually selectors to be sure that they are
Yeah.
there.
And that's why we don't send the entire page.
Yeah.
And that's like the reason. Instead of it, we get just locators for like sections, or if you have like a page with only read-only fields, it will work fine. But if you have a combination, it gets confused. In those kind of cases, I really had help with specifying only one section by one, and then I would just get locators, just copy paste them and get the other one, and then I would get like 100 locators a minute, and I would definitely need more time now to go manually through each of them.
Yeah, if I might jump in here, just in interest of time, maybe let's switch over to Nico. I think you had one.
Just have you run into token limitation issues? But now you answered since you're sending section by section.
Yes, but yeah, while when sending the entire pages and everything, you can have like a response that you can see that was cut out, and you get just a method on behalf. So that was one of the issues.
Yeah, for any additional questions, Igor will be here afterwards, although it is quite far away, so so let's jump over to our next presenter. Just let me check